How to submit. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Sero's Microgrant Program. How to submit your application. Next slide. So, welcome. Please put your name, pronouns, and what state you are coming from in the chat box if you have not already done that, so we can know who's in the room and all of that. Next slide, Kevin. So, I am Tana Pradia, Sero's AMP Grant Coordinator, along with my co-partner, Kevin. Want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I am Kevin Lish. I'm the finance director at Sero, and I am really excited to see everyone as we start this next cohort for the micro grant, the Sero AMP grant program.
Yes. Okay.
There you go,
Okay.
Tana.
All righty, Kevin. I think Tammy and Kamaria, would you like to come off mute and introduce yourself? Don't want to leave out our co-EDs.
I was trying to be indiscreet, but hello, everyone. I'm happy to see your faces. I will be in the background helping in chat and letting people in from the waiting room so that Kevin and Tina can work their magic. Tammy?
Hey everyone, Tammy. Great to see you all and so many people joining us today. Grateful for Tana and Kevin, who do an amazing job with the AMP grant, and looking forward to seeing your proposals.
Thank you all. Next slide, Kevin. So, ViiV Healthcare AMP Grant. This is so exciting to launch the next round of AMP grants for 2027. Sero Project will support from ViiV Healthcare is proud to launch the Sero AMP Grant. This 3-year incubator is one of 9 projects chosen to fuel emergent talent and programs that disrupt disparities in HIV care. The AMP grant is designed to support individuals and projects that are taking creative, unconventional, and urgent approaches to grassroots change for people living with HIV by providing microgrants, mentorship, and network support. Sero will act as an incubator to awardees submitting original projects with innovative outreach and engagement efforts. Reaching people living with HIV or vulnerable to HIV as part of an expanded effort to place resources directly in the hands of those most affected, uplifting and amplifying the leadership of PLHIV. Sero will provide funds, capacity building, technical assistance, mentorship, and more to aid awardees of this funding. Next slide.
It's an 8 award. That's it.
8 awards. Meaningful involvement. Sero's microgrant program is open to advocates and organizations to uplift meaningful involvement of PLHIV/AIDS, which is MIPA, on projects to uplift the leadership of PLHIV. Next slide, Kevin. So, Sero will provide funds for capacity building, technical assistance, mentorship, and many more. Next slide. So, what projects are we going to fund? First off, leadership opportunities for PLHIV in state, HIV criminalization, coalition work, strategic planning meetings for state coalitions working on HIV criminalization reform, community forums to educate community and legislators on HIV criminalization reform, projects that promote racial justice, financial justice for PLHIV and HIV criminalization reform efforts, such as stipends, reimbursements for telephone, internet access, technology, etc., etc. Next slide. Next slide, Kevin. So, what projects will we not fund? We will not fund lobbying efforts. We will not fund projects that don't center racial justice. We will not fund general operating expenses for an organization like rent, utilities. We will not fund projects that do not uplift the coalition of the impact of HIV criminalization. We will not fund projects that utilize more than 10% of the budget for conference or attendance. We will not fund projects outside of the United States. Next slide. So, how many projects are going to be funded? This year, we are offering 8 grants at $10,000. 2 grants at $15K, only for those that have been awarded previous AMP grants will be eligible for this funding. So, for example, are people that have advocates that have already been through the AMP program can apply for this 15,000. But remember, you can apply for the 10 and the 15, but you will only get one of those grants. Next slide, please. So our timeline, 2025/2026, AMP grant applications opens. Today is how to apply webinar. AMP grant application closes September 30th, 2026, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain, and 2 p.m. Pacific. AMP grant awardee letters released November 17th, 2026. AMP grant orientation webinar will be January 13th, 2027, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Pacific. Next slide, please. So now I will pass this over to Kevin.
Great. Thanks, Tana. So one of the questions we get a lot is, do you need to be a 501c3 to apply? No, because we realize that a lot of grassroots organizations and advocates have not taken that step yet. And so you do not have to be a 501c3 to apply. Sero will act as a fiscal sponsor for all approved 2027 AMP grants. And so we do that. ViiV has given us the okay to do that, and we put any fiscal sponsor fees into the administration costs of our AMP grant program. So all fiscal sponsor fees are waived, and we will act as your fiscal sponsor for any and all awards in 2027. And also, the one restriction we do have is any organization or individual with a budget of 250,000 or more are not eligible for a Sero AMP grant. If you need to have 250,000 or less of adjusted gross income in order to submit a successful application. What we would like to see from our grantees in 2027 will be providing us feedback as we go along and also updates on the work you're doing. We like nothing better to share your work with ViiV, who is a very good partner in sharing work done with the AMP grants on a much larger scale. We are going to ask you to participate in a monthly AMP grantee forum where we'll discuss different learning experiences. Tana and I will send the 2027 cohort a Google form questionnaire, and you will tell us what training you would like to receive, and those will be the forum agenda. You'll set it yourself. We also would really like you to embrace the incubator experience. We will be setting up a listserv on Google Groups. And, because there are so many new advocates and people doing advocacy for the first time, we would really appreciate any questions you have about your grant that are shareable. Go through the listserv, because if you have that question, probably someone else in the cohort does as well. And we would like to have as much learning leave the upcoming cohort as possible, because again, the incubator experience is so we can not only work on ending HIV criminalization, but to also build the future leadership in our community. And then only individual organizations awarded can submit invoices and attach receipts. We are going to ask each awarded grantee to let us know who will be one or two, maybe three people who will be sending Tana and I receipts and invoices for payment. That way we know which receipts are actually valid and which we should be paying, and more importantly, which we should not be paying out of your grant proceeds. So again, to protect your grant awards, we will ask for a couple, three people to be named who will submit those items to Tana and who will submit them on to me for payment. Changes during a grant cycle. This is something new for 2027. We're going to ask you between now and the 30th to really think out your application and your project thoughtfully and intentionally. We simply no longer can allow an entire project to be rewritten after it has been submitted and approved as one of the new grants in the cohort. If you do come to us and you need to completely rewrite the grant and the budget, it will cause a forfeiture of your grant. Again, we wish we had 100 grants to give out, but we only have 8, and then the 2 for folks that have already completed a successful AMP grant. So please really think about what you do and make sure you are set yourself up for success to be able to follow your narrative and your budget and complete it as written and approved for the new cohort. And then also, please remember, all travel and related expenses can't be more than 10% of your total budget. That includes conference travel. We really want these projects to enhance local, statewide HIV criminalization reform through either modernization or repeal in the states the grants are chosen from. And so, yeah, we really would like you to do the work in the states remaining so we can end HIV criminalization once and for all. And with that, we're going to pause for a second and see if anyone has any questions before we move on to look at the application and what you're going to be expected to give us for consideration for a grant. Does anyone want to come off mute? Do you have any questions at this point?
Can you expound on the word that you are saying, criminalization? If I'm saying that right, I probably messed that word up, but can you go on a little bit, expand a little bit when you say the projects will be only focused on criminalism?
Yeah. So our grant from ViiV stipulates that the microgrants we award need to focus on HIV criminalization efforts. A lot of states have active coalitions working to end HIV criminalization, either through repeal or modernization, Robert. And so, it may be something to help train new members of the coalition on effective methods of ending HIV criminalization. It may be a project that helps educate legislators because those are our customers, right? The members of your house, of your state house, and your state senate, and the governor are people that we need to convince that this is the right thing to do. So anything that helps enhance a state's effort to end HIV criminalization will be looked at very seriously. And I wish I could give you a definitive list, but one of the things that really excites us about this program is there are probably people out there that have thought of things that none of us have yet. And that's how we're going to end HIV criminalization is by sharing all the grassroots great ideas and projects that someone has thought of out of the box that no one else has thought of, but we can share and help scale to other states to get rid of these insidious laws and move us towards no more people going to incarcerated facilities because of their HIV status. So I hope that helps, but I also did not want to limit anyone's imagination or thoughts if they have a really great new advocacy idea on how to get this done. Does that help, Robert?
Yeah, I'll continue to listen, but that helped great. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Have a question also about the criminalization. Since most of you all probably know, and some probably don't, that I'm a member of HMM, which is HIV Modernization Movement. Now, are all of the people that are on this particular webinar, are you all also participants in HMM, or would you care to be participants in HMM and hit your states a lot harder with trying to let them know that I know our state has way too many old bills that need to be removed, because Indiana is really bad about it, but I don't really know what the other states look like as far as removing bills that incarcerate people that have been verbally charged with something that they haven't even been treated for, that they don't know about. And I'm wondering what can be done to these people that have said, oh, well, they possibly may have done this to me. I think they did this to me, but you haven't sought any action to have this proved. So what can we even do about that?
Yeah, and I really want to give a great shout out to HMM. They have been a member of most all of the cohorts since we started the AMP grants, Michelle. And one thing that's really wonderful about HMM is they developed an extremely effective advocate training program, the first cohort of the AMP grants. And Carrie and Mark and the entire leadership at HMM have been so generous in sharing it with other coalitions to help train their new advocates, and that's one of the intentions of this program. There, resources are resources are getting more and more hard to find daily under our current environment, and there's no reason for each state to have to reinvent the wheel. Let's take what works in Indiana or Pennsylvania or whatever state you're from, and let's help other coalitions scale that so it makes sense in their state instead of using multiple dollars to always reinvent the wheel. Let's share the knowledge so we can end HIV criminalization. I hope that helps, and I'm going to move on to Melanie Reese. Hey, Melanie, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question, Kevin. The group that I will be submitting an AMP grant. We're at the intersections. What we represent is at the intersections of criminality for any health conditions, including HIV, and surveillance of marginalized people. And it's something that can be used for coalitions that are already in existence, and it can help others to be more clear to start one in their own state if there is not one? And is that appropriate?
I am only one of uh, probably 9 to 12 reviewers. I hate to limit anyone's, again, thoughts, grassroots ideas, or their imagination. I would say, Melanie, for my opinion, if I were to read what you just said as a brief synopsis of your application, I would score that application. But again, I'm just one of several reviewers. But
Okay, that's
I
all I
I
needed to know.
great,
That's
great.
all I needed to
Alrighty,
know. Thank you.
perfect. Thank you, Valerie.
Hey, this might be a crazy question, but I just wanted to ask, can we do it individually, or do we have to be in a organization or network or coalition already?
I can help answer that, Kevin. Hi,
Go
Valerie.
ahead, Tana.
So
Hey,
one of the things about the AMP grant is this is for advocates and organizations that have
okay,
coalitions. So one of the things that is unique about Sero's AMP grant is this gives advocates an opportunity to enhance their ability, their knowledge, and all of that to come together and be creative as much as possible. Because in in a normal world, advocates sometimes are left out, but this AMP grant, this ViiV AMP grant is geared around advocates. It is geared around coalitions doing HIV criminalization. And we have had some wonderful advocates come up with some creative ideas of how to educate people in their states. So, yes, this is about advocates and coalitions.
okay. Thank you so much, Miss Hannah. That
You're
that sounds
welcome.
good. That sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We I really believe that we know we know how to end this. Uh, we may not we may not have learned the special secret sauce to get it done in the remaining states we need to work on, but someone out there has the knowledge. And I loved Hannah's answer because the again, please use your imaginations. Please let your grassroots advocacy just run when you fill out your application, because that's the way we're all going to learn the secret sauce on how to get this done in the 29, 28 or 29 states that we need to finish the job. Any other questions before we go into the application?
Can an organization apply in partnership with another organization? It may have been asked before, but I just got here.
Sure. Um,
Can an
David?
organization apply in partnership with another organization?
Um, yeah, that's a great question. It's a new one. That's so
Yeah.
I don't see why not, Tana. I think
I I don't see why that's not possible for as long as MIPA, it is MIPA driven and all of that. So advocates can always partner with another organization or they can partner together for as long as it is MIPA driven. Because this is unique and this is about our people and our coalition to change the world that we want to live in without HIV criminalization.
Yay! And then I have another question. If your organization is already a nonprofit, um, can you apply directly, or does Sero require them to be the fiscal sponsor? Like if you have your own nonprofit, can you
yeah,
use your own, or
you
do you
know,
have to use theirs?
yeah, we have a pretty small staff, and so we have in the past learned some very good lessons on how to administer these micro grants. That's why there are no fiscal sponsor fees. We have again, in order to not repeat past mistakes, we have decided that even if it's a 501c3, we are going to act as your fiscal sponsor, and yeah, the money will stay at Sero, and it's a fairly simple process to get things paid for for your project. Michelle, you have another question?
Question and comment. Okay, I'm also a member of PPN, Positive People Network. We're based out of Miami-Dade. That was the group I had originally started with out of Miami-Dade, Florida. I'm still part of a board member. Now, the board is actually, the 501c3 is connected out of Miami-Dade. My portion does not have a 501c3, and I have no problems with letting people know I'm not connected with the 501c3, but I'm still PPN Indy. So, I let people know what's still going on with that and how they can connect with the rest of my sisters and brothers that are in Florida. So if there's still something else that you would like to know about 501c3 and 501c4, I can connect you to people that are in Miami, Florida, that can also give you more information. But I'm not affiliated with the 501c3 and 501c4. I just know what they do there.
Great,
So
thanks, Michelle.
Okay.
So let's have some clarity. You do not have to have be a 501c3. This is gives you an opportunity to learn how to manage a mini grant. And later on, once you finish this, you might decide, hey, I want to start my own 501c3. But this is giving you the knowledge, the education, and all of that to execute and work within a budget and see what it looks like. And later on, you might decide, hey, I want to apply for a grant myself and take the steps to get whatever it is that you need to become a 501c3 to keep doing this work. So no, no one has to be a 501c3 because we are the physical sponsor. We're not charging you a fee. All of the money will be directly used for each AMP grant that is awarded. I hope that was very clear and precise.
And how are these funds dispersed?
So you will not get the funds in one lump sum. As your grants are being executed, your supplies, your event space, any stipends, any payments, or anything like that comes to me. Uh, for payments of anybody that needs to be, if you have presenters, if you pay yourself, if you pay your participants, all of that comes to me in a transmittal and an invoice. And then I automatically send that to Kevin, and Kevin pays out any supplies or events that needs to be and food that needs to be purchased. Kevin automatically takes care of that. There is no wait time. It is a smooth process of how we have this and how we handle these grants. So there is no lag. And we take pride in making sure that each grantee has everything they need to be successful.
Well, all righty then.
Any more questions on that? Kevin, I'll pass it back to you.
Thanks, Dana. Okay, so the application. Oops, Kari, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to flag a question in the chat you might go over this in the slides coming up. Just someone's asking, are we looking for metrics for are we looking for any particular metrics to show success? So there's a portion here on the evaluation part of the grant or how they do their evaluation. Will y'all be going over that?
Yep, that's one of the sections we'll be going over that's on the application. And I am happy to, I'll answer that question real quickly now. We're going to let you develop your own evaluation methods for your project or your grant. That will be something that you'll tell us how you're going to do it. And it will be part of the things we score as we narrow down for the 2027 cohort. Okay, so the application has 8 sections. Just, what are you applying for? A 10 or a $15,000 grant? If you are eligible and have successfully completed a AMP grant in the first, 5 cohorts, you're eligible to apply for both a 10 or a $15,000 grant. Again, only one will be awarded. The next section is your grantee information. Third section is information about you as an individual. If you're doing it as an organization, section 4 tells us about the organization. Section 5 tells us who you plan on working with. Who are you going to work with in your state? 6 is project specific questions, and questions we have. So give you a chance to tell us about your HIV criminalization reform project. 7 is your narrative, and then 8 are some attachments we want to help us make the award decisions. Michelle, you have another question?
Yes, can I work with both HMM as well as PPN?
Again, these are some new questions. I would, one thing I think you may want to be careful of is, in order to be fair to everyone, we are going to have to look at the the gross income for all organizations that team up. And so you may want to be careful about making sure you don't violate, if you put a team together like that, you don't want to violate the 250,000 or above, income requirement to be eligible for an AMP grant.
Right, because I'm not trying to double dip or anything like that.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah,
You know,
I just wanted
but
to ask that question in case anybody else asked me.
right, I just don't want anyone to shoot themselves in the foot over something that I probably wouldn't have thought of myself. Davina, go ahead.
These projects, whether it's individual or organizational, is there a length of time that they have to last? Are they supposed to last a year, 6 months?
I can help with that.
Go ahead,
So,
Tana.
so when if you get awarded the grant starts once that January 13th happens and you can get started. It doesn't matter if you finish your grant in 6 months, 4 months, or whatever. You can, as you finish these AMP grants, all that is required is that we have all of the information that we need to close out your grant. You don't have to stretch a grant out for a year. Some advocates have closed out in 6 months, 7 months. It just depends on what you want to do in your state or your area. So yeah, did that answer your question, Davina?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Seeing no more questions. So, section 1. Again, you're going to see this in section 1, and please put a hold on your calendar. Assume you're going to get a grant, so you don't miss the kickoff or orientation webinar on January 13th. Oops, I messed up the date there. I'm sorry. It's January 13th, 2027 at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central, 4 Mountain, and 3 Pacific time. There's another error, but we'll fix that before the slides come out to you all. And then also remember, no funding will be provided for lobbying efforts. I think that's pretty standard in all grants for advocacy. General operating expenses, that would be rent, utilities, those types of things. And then again, just a reminder, we will act as fiscal sponsor for all grants awarded in 2027, and all fiscal sponsor fees are waived.
Kevin, there's a question in the chat. So it says,
Okay, go ahead.
do you, this is from Robert, do you have to have a budget or how much? So yes, you have to have a budget laid out, and it depends on if you get a $10,000 grant or a $15,000 grant. So yes, you must attach a budget. Now, always remember, budgets can change, but the work can't change.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Very good. That's a great answer, Tana. So section 2, we want to know who you are, your email address, phone number, basic demographic information of the primary contact or the person filling out the information is standard boilerplate, who you are questions. And then we go in the section 3. You'll complete this if you are filing the application as an individual advocate who wants to work on this in your state or your city or wherever you like to work on it. And so we're going to ask you for your annual budget. If you don't have an annual budget, if you're really grassroots, just type in 0. That's perfectly acceptable. We are going to ask you to provide a mission statement for the project, and then what geographic area you're going to serve with your project. Section 4 is, again, very similar, except these are for folks who are applying as an organization, whether a 501c3 or not a 501c3. That would be like a state HIV criminalization coalition. And again, we want to know your organizational fiscal year budget. Again, your organization's mission, and hopefully 2 or 3 sentences, and then the geographic area the organization is going to serve with your project, and it's a drop-down menu where you can pick all that apply. Okay. Section 5 is the general constituency population profile. We want to know what ages are you going to work with. We have seen some really interesting projects that have really helped to bring folks the opposite of me, young folks, into projects. We want to know what intended gender you're going to be willing to work with your project, the intended races and ethnicities, intended socioeconomic statuses, the intended self-identified sexual orientations, and then the last one, my Zoom thing, let me move it so I can read and of course, really important, the intended self-identified HIV statuses. And with that, I am going to take the question from Tana, who has her hand raised. So I'm sorry, go ahead and ask your question.
No, I think that's Cecilia. Cecilia, can you
Oh, that's
change your name?
Okay, I don't know how to.
Okay,
I wasn't able to get onto my computer, so.
go ahead. Ask your
So,
question.
when you're referring to the organization and their annual budget, if you are an organization, can you use that 990 card that you would normally fill out, or do you need an actual budget? The
that question I think
990
is
card that we fill out that shows you're under 50,000, or do you want an actual budget?
I think we were going to ask for an actual budget later on in the application. That question I think is you just need to type in a number. If I'm thinking about that portion of the application correctly. Yeah, you just need to, but then we are going to ask for an organizational budget in the items we asked you to upload. So that part's coming later on. Go ahead, Keenan. I hope I said your name right.
Kaneen.
Keenan, I'm sorry.
Okay, so my question is because I noticed that the young lady earlier when she was doing the announcements was very intentional about saying that we would Tana was making it clear that we would be able to do this whether we were individual or collective. And advocates, much like artists, don't get paid. And so, out of curiosity, are the advocates able to pay themselves via this grant? Because a lot of times we show up for free. People be wanting us to be out there, hooping and hollering and cutting up and rallying and not getting incentivized or getting a coin, and in this administration, not getting paid is really, really a complication. So would we be able to pay ourselves via this grant? That's what I want to know.
So,
That's a good.
so Kaneen, I hope I said your name right.
Yes.
Yes, I encourage every grantee to make sure that you are designing something that is unique. Your time, your efforts, and all of that this grant is about economic justice, but also uh helping you to guide your funds. So yes, you can get a get paid. Most definitely. Why wouldn't you?
Ashe, Ashe. I'd love to hear it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And in fact, Keneen, we have selected grant applications, and you will people that have not paid themselves will be asked to join a Zoom with Tana and I, and we will help you change the budget, a little bit so you are paying yourself. Because I agree, your labor is just as important as anyone else's, and you should pay yourself in these applications and budgets.
Ashe. Thank you for that.
Great. Robert, you have a question?
Yes, I apologize. I'm asking this. I didn't have a chance. I got a phone call and had to come back real quickly. Um, the question I have is I know that we have to formulate a budget, and I thank you for answering that. I'm just asking, do we, if we do it through an organization, do that organization has to have a budget, or does it not have to have a budget to apply? If that makes any more
Um,
clarity.
yeah. Yeah. Again, if it's something brand new, uh, grassroots, whether it's an individual application or an organizational application, everything always has a starting point. And so if this is something that's brand new and there is no budget, you're going to see when you get to that part of the application, uh, in the upload section, it's going to say if this is your first year in operation, and you don't have a past annual budget, please type 0 on a piece of paper and upload it. We
Thank you
we
for the
don't want to,
clarity.
yeah, we do not want to exclude people for that reason, because if it's a startup and you have a great idea, we want to look at your application to see if we can fund it.
Cecilia, you have a question?
Yes. Are you allowed to have participant stipends? And if it is there a maximum amount that you can do for participant stipends? So, my camera went crazy.
We of course we do allow participant stipends. We're going to ask it to be uh, in it, you know, it's got to make sense. A stipend needs to make sense. If we see something come in on a budget that you want to pay someone $1,500 to speak 5 minutes at a listening session, we're probably going to our eyebrows are going to go up on that, because is that really appropriate compensation for 5 minutes, $1,500 during a listening session? So again, it just needs to make sense. Remember, your maximum budget, if it's a new application, is 10, and even on the enhanced micro grants, it's 15. So you need to make sure your budget makes sense. And when we look at it, we can see that you can complete the project, uh, that is reflective in the budget for all the expenses you're saying that your project's going to have. So just make sure it's in relation and it makes good common sense. And of course, you can pay participants.
And from what I understood, so I'm not asking, I'm just reinstating because I see a lot of people are maybe not, maybe just coming on and not hearing what was discussed earlier. So I just wanted to repeat this for, people, from what I'm understanding, is that the $15,000 grant is only available to people who've already gotten the grant, and the $10,000 grants are open to everyone who, meets the criteria to apply for the grant. Is that correct?
That's correct. And
All right.
I'm sorry, and we should have said this throughout the webinar. Tana and I should have said we are recording this. As soon as the recording is available, everyone that signed up and registered will get a copy of the Zoom recording, the slides, and also the link to the application. And mine and Tana's email addresses in case you think of any questions once we're done today.
And always feel free to, we are open for you to reach out to us Monday through Friday. We even take calls on the weekend. We're always here for you.
Okay, so now we're gonna go on to section 6 of the application. This is now you're going to start telling us a little bit about what you want to do. It's going to be the title of your project, the type of project. There's another drop down there, and you can choose any that apply to your project. The amount of grant you're requesting, and then we'd like a brief summary of your project. We'd like it to be 250 words or less. And as any of you that have ever reviewed anything like this or an abstract or anything, I'm going to say this and I'm going to giggle while I say it, but it's really, something I very seriously feel. Bullet points are your friends. It makes it easier for a reviewer to review, and it also cuts down on the words you need. So, yeah, bullet points are your friends when you're filling out your application. Section 7 is your project narrative. We want you to tell us a little bit about what situation your organization finds itself in the area that you serve. Include details about any efforts you've done in the past or you currently have going. We would really like to hear about how your organization has embraced MIPA in the past or would like to further embrace it moving forward. Tell us about your history with MIPA. What groups, again, do you want to impact in addition to people living with HIV in your area? HIV criminalization, we have learned from the start, really needs to be an intersectional effort. How can you bring other people affected by criminalization into your fold as an ally or an accomplice? Sex workers, people that use drugs, any group, any other marginalized group besides people living with HIV that have been overly policed because of HIV criminalization laws in your area. And then the next section is your narrative. Tell us about your project. Please detail the use of the requested funds, the goals you hope to reach, the activities to get to those goals, and then the anticipated outcomes of your project. And then tell us, sing your praises. Tell us why your organization is the absolute best organization in the area that you want to work to do it. And don't be afraid again to sing your praises. Tell us why you are the organization to fund in your area. Again, the narrative goes on in section 7. How does this project fit into your long range goals for your efforts or your organization? Please never forget this is an incubator. We want to see your grassroots efforts grow. We want you to outgrow this project. We want to report your stellar projects and the results of those to ViiV. We would like to see you competing with us for some Sero ourselves with some ViiV funding. We want to see you grow. We want to see the community grow, and we want to see the HIV CRIM movement grow. How will the project help your efforts or your organization achieve its future goals? Again, let us know. Again, we want to build capacity of our community while we are doing the things we need to end these ridiculous laws. Here is where you can tell us all about the evaluation plan for the overall project, including how you'll collect information, measure success, identify challenges in your areas and any opportunities your organizations may have discovered. So again, you know your organization, you know your area. the people you work with far better than any of us at Sero or anyone reviewing the applications. So we're going to leave that evaluation plan up to you. So you tell us what makes sense for your project and your area and the people you serve. And then, how will your organization sustain the program at the end of the grant period? What are your plans to keep your grassroots effort or your grassroots advocacy going at the end of the 2027 cohort? Here are the attachments. Again, we're going to ask for a project budget, and there is a budget form. You can, it's a forced copy. When you hit it, they'll ask you to make a copy, which will be your copy, and then you can fill it out. And it puts everyone on an equal playing field. All the budgets should look the same because it's not we're looking for a budget that makes sense with the narrative, not who can create the best budget format. Organizational budget. This is where you can upload your most recent budget. If this is your first year, please upload a single page with first year, not applicable. Hopefully that answers the question from a few minutes ago. You do not have to have a past budget to be eligible for a Sero AMP grant. Fiscal sponsor agreement, again, same thing. It's a forced copy. You can hit it. It'll be your copy. You can sign it and then re-upload it with your application. And then this is something that we have borrowed from the old Age United POP grant. It's a diversity table. Tell us a little bit about your organization again. Tell us, if you're an individual, of course, there's not a lot to fill out on the diversity table, and we fully understand that if it's individual advocacy. But if you are part of an organization, please tell us about your steering committee, the economic justice you have put forth. I'm sorry, not economic justice, but racial justice. Again, sing your praises. If you've done the hard work to make sure as many people as possible have a voice, tell us that. We want to know. And so that, I believe, takes us to, again, the summary that show the 8 sections. And I think the next slide is questions about I'm sorry. Here are our email addresses, and of course you'll get these slides and you'll have them a few hours after the webinar ends when Zoom gives us the recording. And then now we're at the question mark again. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other and Tana and I can start answering questions. Who has questions?
I don't really have questions. I am very excited about this, and this is something that I will have to ponder on. So I thank you, and I'm grateful that I can stop taking pictures of all the slides and know that I can get them when you finish. And just really is. So thank you for very much breaking down the requirements and everything else, because I have not really thought about criminalization in South Carolina, but now I will.
Great. Thank you, Robert. It was wonderful meeting you on Zoom today. And again, if you have any questions as you're working on your application, don't hesitate to reach out to Tana or myself. And now somebody with one of my favorite laughs ever. Kenya, what's on your mind today?
Okay, I have a lot of questions. So I'm Pennsylvania, not just Philadelphia, and I'm not. Am I allowed to work in Pittsburgh for decriminalization?
Sure.
Individual.
Sure.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Kenya, for your question.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, y'all. I know someone has questions.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Tana and I are good, but we're not that good that you all must have some more questions.
Tori?
Tori, do you have a question?
Sorry about that. I was having a hard time coming off of mute. Yes, sir. I have a question. Will the application be emailed to us or sent to us in a link? How would we get the application?
Yeah. We have a asset sheet ready to go. The only thing is missing, of course, is the link for this recording. And so when you get that in the next 2, 3 hours, it will have the application link in that asset, one sheet asset page.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys.
You're
And
welcome.
Sure, Tori.
and so and another question that I had was, so I'm bi-coastal and the decriminalization laws look different in New York versus New Orleans, but there I do feel like the stories of people who have experienced, being criminalized via HIV. I think that those stories are relevant, and one of the things that we do, within my work is storytelling. So is it better to just focus on one area or not focus on like because this work is traveling work, so like I feel like I'm an ambassador in my advocacy, and so would it be better just to focus on one area, or would it be okay to like include stories from all the areas in which I'm in, because like I live in New York and I live in Louisiana, but the criminalization looks like there's more rights for people in New York. People are more protected there. There's a lot less protections in Louisiana. So would it be better just to focus on Louisiana and not include people's stories from New York?
I, I I think storytelling is really important. I think I think that is our path to victory. And I think an effective story about the harms of HIV criminalization cut through state boundaries. Tammy
Okay.
put in the chat, and I want to reinforce that. Do not forget the 10% travel budget. Kaneen, I think you mentioned the crazy regime we're living under. Travel, I think, for the next 2.5 years is going to get really expensive.
Yes.
You know, we are depleting the oil reserves really quickly. Nothing is still coming in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. So, if gas prices go shooting way up, if the price of oil goes shooting way up, travel costs are going to go shooting way up with it. So, unfortunately, that's going to make multi-state efforts even harder under the 10% limit on travel.
Thank you.
William.
William.
Hi, how are you? So I had a question. So it is for question for another organization. If the other organization do not have a they're 501(c)(3), but the thing is they don't have a website, they don't have social media, but they've been open about 4 years already. What are the chances for them to get awarded a grant since they're not very tech savvy? Can a grant be used to also include creation a website to amplify the work that we've been doing, what they've been doing?
Tanny, you want to take a stab? I know what my answer would be.
Uh, so yes and no. Um, but I think about what stories or what are you trying to get people to know in your state? Um, for you know, I've seen people create social media through their AMP grants, stories through their AMP grants. Um, yeah, I'm gonna pass that to you, Kevin, because I'm
Okay,
not real sure.
I I think again, we do not want to limit anyone's innovation or imagination. If you want to submit an application that would enhance the organization's social media status and website, remember, it has to be HIV crim focused, crim reform focused. So if you can tie that all together and make a strong case of how that is HIV criminalization reform focused, please do so. That is the one thing that is a hard and fast rule when we evaluate applications is the focus on HIV criminalization reform through either modernization or repeal.
Okay.
And and how are we feeling about any cooperation with? Because a lot of people be feeling funny about AI. So how are we feeling about having any of that mingled into our campaign or our work? Like, are we against that? What's going on? Or is it mixed feelings? I'm just asking for a friend, actually myself. But
I, I saw Kale when I saw your hand go up. Do you want to take that one?
My Wi-Fi is being weird, so if I break up, I apologize. Um, I would say, like, if you're using ChatGPT for your application, read it before submitting it. Um, Pattern recognition is a thing. I can tell when someone uses AI, and sometimes the documents we
Oh no,
use will
no,
tell.
no, 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 no. Not for the application for like so say like a campaign and you are using like art or like design or like if for part of your campaign, not for the grant.
I would let that be a personal decision, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would just say that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Cecile?
Cecilia.
I just want to ask the link that was sent to me in order to get on this webinar. When I press it, it just goes to area that's just saying waiting for the host to enter. So is
Um,
there something that I'm doing wrong, or is there another link or something? Because I did it twice, which is why I'm on Tana's link, and I'm concerned because I want to make sure I get the information in order to be able to do the application.
Um, yeah. Do me a favor and put in the chat your email address you'd like it emailed to, and I'll make sure that if you're not in
she's on
the
the
list of
email
email,
list. She's on
is
the
she?
list. Yeah. Cecilia,
Great.
you're on the list to get all the information um after this presentation today. So you are on that email list to receive, but just for safety reasons, just in case, um, please put your email in the chat box for us. Kamaria?
Yeah, someone in the chat asked me to continue explaining about using AI for or ChatGPT for your application itself. Um, we're not against it. We know like it helps people think out their ideas and map out things. I'm just asking for folks if you use that as a tool to read it. Don't let ChatGPT design your entire project because what's in writing will not always translate well to what's in action. Sometimes people have submitted budgets that weren't realistic. It looked great on paper, but then when it was time for them to put their hands on it and actually make it happen, it didn't make sense for how they were holding their project. So that's what I was encouraging folks about. Use it for your application if you need to, but please read it and like out loud, like, okay, does this sound right out loud of what I want to do before you submit it? Because we're also reading these and trying to see like how does this map out in person, and may follow up with questions just to hear you talk about it. So we're just cautioning because sometimes AI does not always know you or know
Hmm.
your
Mm,
factors that are involved. So that's all I was
Hmm.
going to add to that. I hope that
That's
helped.
right.
and it will change what you wanted to say if you're not
Hmm.
careful. Yeah, I believe in the natural creativity of our people. So, yeah.
What else
No,
can we answer for you all today?
yes. No one has any more questions?
Because
Yeah,
well,
let
well,
me look in the chat to see if there is.
oop.
Okay.
Hey, Lawrence.
Yes, Lawrence.
How do we do? You can grade us?
Yes, I don't know why my camera, there it is.
There
Hi,
it is.
family. Hi, everybody. I do have one question actually. Are we allowed to have events where we charge an admission for people to attend?
That's your fundraising piece, I would think.
Sure.
That's to your discretion. That's to your discretion, some people use that as a fundraising tool. Because always remember, y'all, if you get accepted, you might want to do some fundraising during your time with your grant. It's a great way to enhance and be able to do more if that's something you choose to do. That answered your question, Lawrence?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
never, never forget the advantage of fundraised funds. They
Yeah,
are unrestricted. You can spend them however your little heart desires. So,
yeah,
yeah, kudos for that question, Lawrence. That's a great question.
absolutely. Anyone else? Well, if don't anyone else have any more questions, we will let y'all go. I believe in not just sitting here, giving you some time back to relax, to think about, okay, what am I going to put together for the AMP grant? And we will make sure that in a couple of hours that you receive the slides and the recording of how to apply. And if there are any concerns or anything, please let us know. Reach out to us. Our email addresses are there. So please, and good luck, everyone.
Yep. I'm looking
And
forward to reading some
remember,
really good applications.
yes, and September 30th is the deadline to apply.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Please do some self-care. Sending y'all so much love, peace, and blessings. Have a
Thank
great day.
you.
Good
Thank you. Thank you for
evening.
your
Thank
time.
you,
Thank you all
everyone.
so much. Thank you.
Bye, Kamaria.